Welcome. My name's Penny and I live in the southeast of England with my husband Pete and my 3 chickens. I've been moving around my house here, there, everywhere. I've landed up in between my sitting room and my conservatory, hoping that this comes out because the light, well, it's spring light, but it's not spring like. We've had rain every day, which has been dreadful, except maybe I think 1 or 2 odd days of sunshine, but still not warm, So still waiting for that spring-like day where we can relax. At the minute, it's still wrap up, keep warm, and keep indoors because of the wet weather. So what have I been doing this week? Well, as you know, I haven't been well since the beginning of January. Well, if you're new here, thanks for joining me. I've got some new subscribers, new viewers, and it's lovely. Thank you very much. I do have playlists if you want to catch up. And yes, so January the 1st, I got the lurgy, and there's no two ways about it. Well, it's lasted and lasted. But Sunday I woke up and I thought, I think I feel a bit brighter, a bit better. And I do. I really do. However, Pete's in bed, sore throat, sweating like buckets, he says. I just changed the sheets yesterday. I don't want him to sweat buckets. Fortunately, he's got his pyjamas on and he's going to get up and have a shower. You didn't need to know all that, did you? But he's back in bed. So today actually isn't raining after days and days and days of rain. It's blowy though, and it's a cold wind, but never mind, we'll get there. I think Anne said of Sparnitz, plodding into spring, and that's what it feels like. It's a slow old process. Never mind. Anyway, what was I saying? This is what I'm like. I just chatter on. I actually sit down here and think, I can't do chin wag. I do it every week. I tell my friends that's probably the last one because I don't know what I'll talk about. What will I talk about? What will I say? And then I sit down and have to cut 20 minutes out because it's too long. Anyway, welcome. That's what it is. It's just a chat about my life this week or however long it's been. And I think it is about a week, just over a week. And what I've made during that week, what I've been doing, that sort of thing, General life, is that what they call it? I've been busy. My darling mum died at the end of December and I've got to get a house ready for sale, which means parting with all her stuff and Dad's books. And so, been doing that this week. Taking bits here, taking bits there, people taking what they want, and generally then having a good old sob. That's how it is when you see these things that have been treasured for so long, or not even treasured, but just there. Just things like glass bowls. I've got a glass bowl here. Oopsie. And this is a glass bowl. I didn't know I was going to show you this anyway. I've just got a little thing in it. I've got some, what do they call them? Things I made. It'll come. Anyway, I'll show you in one how I made them. That's quite a big one. Embroidered that. And these are little ones. I'll have to put on screen what they are. Oh, macarons. Yeah, macarons. There's a little one I embroidered. Anyway, I keep them in here. If anybody comes and they want one, they can have it. But I love glass bowls. I've got a thing about them because I was brought up with them. And you go around Mum's kitchen, I've got 1 or 2 glass bowls. I can't part with them. Sunday we had, what did we have in here? Tin fruit, or Mum would make, jelly or just fruit in there, or just bits and bobs. everywhere. We had these cut glass bowls. I mean, I think it's the patterns I love. You know, you knit hats like that, don't you? They're quite sturdy. So, yeah, that's got my little bits in and my macarons, and that sits on my little table here. So, just things like that. How many have I got round there? Probably got another half a dozen. And I don't want to take them to the charity shop. If they don't go with anybody wanting them, I shall bring them home. I've got a couple over there in the conservatory on the shelf. And hang on, I'll get them. Well, that's good. There's only one. That means I can get at least another two round. One could go on the table. Here it is. See again, that lovely bottom. That's a square one this time. As I say, Mum just said, well, I think she got them in the 50s, and that's what I was brought up with. They're very precious. I mean, they're not worth anything. That makes them even better, because if things are worth something, you have to be so careful with them, don't you? So, yes, I've only got one over there and one there. I have got a couple in the kitchen, but I think I'll go and get another lot. Oh, that's good, chatting to you. I'll do that. That's where I've been this week. Sorting things through, letting go of some of Dad's books. Still a lot of books there. But I'm making these treasure books now. I made one this week. It just took me a week. And my hobby now is hardly a hobby, but my mission now is to fill the book I've made with all the memorabilia from round Mum and Dad's. So I like this one. You cut the pages 10 and an eighth by 8. So it's quite a, well, I suppose it's a photograph album size. And I'm pleased with it. I was going to use fabric and make it all like that because I'm a fabric person. I've got so much. But I didn't with this one because I just felt I've got papers. I treated myself to a few papers. I had them and I did it with the papers. I'm going to make a smaller one and use one of my dad's books and use fabric for that. So I think that's going to be my next one. Anyway, I'm pleased with the album. I'll show you that. What else have I got to show you? Oh, I've finished Lois's jumper. Oh, let's talk about that. And I'm going to enter it into a mal. Yeah, do you know what that is? For those of you who aren't crafters, a mal is a make-along. I don't enter anything like that, never have done, wouldn't know how to. But Anne of Spar Knits, I could listen to Anne all day. And in her last bit, I like to listen when I go to bed, Anne, because I find you very relaxing. And at one point you did say you haven't dropped off, have you? Or fallen asleep. And I must admit I had. But that was a great thing for me because I was in bed and I was tucking down. But then this morning I watched it again when I didn't drop off. And the wool that Anne has is absolutely beautiful. Anyway, she's been running this mal, this make-along for jumpers. Is it called a jump-along? I don't know. Anyway, I don't do social media, Instagram or Facebook. I don't do any of that. So again, I would think I wouldn't be able to do it, but she's got an email address. And so I'm going to enter Lois's jumper in the jump along. I wrote on the pattern, which is what I usually do. I don't keep it, I tried to do all that journaling, no, it doesn't work for me. But I usually write on the pattern. And I did write on this pattern. I started it on the 12th of October. And I got on with it really well. And it came then to doing round the neck. And I've never done anything like it. I'll show you the pattern. It's Hamiltonian by Catherine Falkirk. And I just think it's a young person's pattern, the way it's, very, what do they call that? Plenty of positive ease. And, well, Lois just liked it. And, oh, I'll go and get the wool that I knitted it in. Hang on. I knitted it in, it is like cotton wool. Well, it's absolutely, it's absolutely beautiful. It's Adriafil and it's called a worsted Aran. And it's saying for a sweater you need 10 balls. And I bought 10 balls. How much did it say on this pattern? It tells you in meters or yards. And I need, for the Lois's one, 1,200 yards. So there we are. So we had to work out the meterage. And so I've got that left over, and I've got a whole one. And that's the joy of shopping in a local wool shop, because I know that I shall pop that back. Actually, the sun's come out, and I shall pop that back later on today. She's open today, and ask her for a refund and change it for something else, change it for my next project. I don't know what that is, but anyway, I know she will. That's what she does. It's like the old-fashioned wool. She's not an old-fashioned wool shop, but it's, it's like they used to do, didn't they? So I know how I'm not stuck with that, which is good. Anyway, let's get back to this. It's meant to be worn with 10 inches or 25.5 centimetres of positive ease, which is quite a lot, isn't it? Which is what she wanted. I'll show you it. I've got to stand up. Oh, this is my mum's brooch. I remember this as a young girl, just looking at this brooch. It's just costume jewellery, but my mum used to wear it all the time. So I popped it on today, and I must say, I'm not really a brooch person, but this brooch I love. Absolutely love it. So there we are. Let me show you the jumper. Oh, you can see it's how beautifully soft it is. And you see with this light, oh, this light's a monkey, isn't it? It's short and swingy. She's got long arms, not like me. She's very tall, my granddaughter. And this lovely top. I'm going to take a photo of her in it. She's coming round for it later. And this was the bit I had trouble with, because she did short rows to cast off the shoulders, which I'd never done. I've always cast off 5, cast off 5, cast off 5. But no, it was short rows. Well, I did that. And then just pick up. She didn't say how many stitches to pick up, multiples of 4. And, when I wasn't well, I couldn't do it. But, of course, feeling better this week, I just plopped down, got it done, brain fog's lifted, and there it is. So the other thing I've got to show you is the album. I can't really show you here. I can show you the spine. Pete said, who's it for? I don't know, I just like that. It's for me. This is mine. You can see the length of it. It's like a proper photo album, isn't it? With the pages inside. So I'm going to pop up to my crafty table, and I'm going to show you and open it and show you what's inside. Well, here we are with the book. Front cover, love, rings, flowers. My dad loved his garden. My mum loved her music. I just thought it was lovely. Page 1. Love is the thread that binds us. My mum loved her sewing, her knitting. Made with love. Everything she did was made with love. So in the first pocket, I've got a picture of her. Unfortunately, I've written on the back, Mum, age 17, December the 2nd, 1943. Just 17, but still with a smile on her face, always. My nan's a memory little book, and my mum sent, obviously, my happy birthday to her mum. And you obviously got a cut out page of stickers and stuck on whichever one was appropriate. And here we've got Mother from Eva with all my love. I thought that was nice to go in the front pocket. Just you can put on this page, blank page, groups of photographs. I think I've got here. Yeah, their wedding. Coloured in, obviously black and white photo. And here, there's another pocket. Oh, this is my mum's diary. Oh, just a page out of this diary, 2014, 2015. Perm, dentist, new shower mats. She wrote everything down. She'd have been a journaler if it had been around in those days. Sherry, 19th, 30th and the 11th. Defrosted the kitchen freezer on the 27th of August. I just think she would have journaled everything. So that's the first page. Flippy flappy. Not too flippy flappy, this one. For you, well, it's for me, so it's for them. A nice big pocket. Here again, we've got a waterfall. You can pop a little something in the pocket. And here you've got all the journaling space for photographs and writing. And I've discovered that you can make what is called hidden paper clips. And I'm going to make hidden paper clips so that I can paper clip onto that waterfall all the different either photographs or bits and bobs that I find. Next page, I made a little envelope and used that as the magnet sticker. Here you can put your bits. I love this page. I put a belly band there so you can slip photos underneath. I just think that's so pretty. In here's a badge. It's called the Friday Gang. And my dad had this made. His brother was made a widower. And yeah, his wife died. And he used to come down every Friday for the weekend. And they used to go out for a meal. And a lady they knew then was widowed. And so they invited her. And then my father-in-law was widowed. So he came along. And just as they were driving to the restaurant one week, a lady who lived in the flats with the other lady who joined them, not with, but, you know, in the same block of flats, she knocked on the window and said, "Can I come? Can I be a member of your gang?" And so they all had a vote, Dad said, and said yes. And so it so happened that there was my mum and dad, there was my dad's brother, and he married April, who was the second to join. And then the lady who knocked on the window, she landed up marrying Pete's dad. At age 82 he was, but a very sprightly 82. And they went to Yugoslavia, as it was then, for their honeymoon. And so the 6 of them became 3 couples. So that's pretty special, really. My next page, there's room for a photograph or journaling. Little tuck here. I've made a thing. You've seen it before. I sewed that down the edge. I'm going to fill out these journaling pages and put photographs in. So that's that page. You can put photographs here or some writing. What have we got here? Oh, this is one of Mum's recipes from her many books. Mum and Dad love Cornwall and would love to have lived there. And here's the recipe. It's for a heavy cake. In Cornwall, this was made in the fishing villages south of Truro. When the seine net was being hauled in and the men shouting "heave" with every pull, the wives would know they would soon be in for tea and make this quick, flat cake to be eaten warm or cold. And it sounds delicious. So Pete said, let's make it, see what it's like. So that's a little recipe out of her many, many recipe books. But it had that link with Cornwall, so I put that in. Here we are. I'll show you that in a minute, but we've got this pocket, another pocket here, and in here are the rules to Pickwick Bicycle Club. My dad belonged to the club and absolutely loved it. He absolutely loved it. It was the highlight of his year. They used to have a garden party, but it took place about the 2nd of December in the Connaught Rooms in London. Yeah, this was the annual dinner. And I think my dad's got Ron Moody. Yeah, he got his autograph. It was proposed by Ron Moody that year. And the response was by Samuel Pickwick, because everybody who belonged to the club had to take on a name of somebody in Dickens' books. Let me show you. On the next page, I've got a little bit of journaling here. I've got Pickwick here. It's characters from Dickens, John Player, cigarette card. Dad had in one of his books. This was on Mum's dressing table, Forget Me Not. So that had to go on there. Now that's some bits and bobs from a book. And so the Pickwick Bicycle Club was formed on the 22nd of June 1870. As the formation coincided with the death of Charles Dickens, the name Pickwick was chosen in honour of the novelist. It's the oldest cycling club in the world, but it is also the oldest Dickensian association extant. And on here I've written, each member adopts as a sobriquet, that means nickname, the name of some personage from the Pickwick papers, and be addressed by that name at all meetings. So there we are, the Pickwick Bicycling Club. And I happen to have a little bit of journal, paper of a bike. And here, I need to journal on there what this is. But this is the paper from the papers of the Pickwick Club, taken out of one of Dad's books. And this was my dad's name. He had the nickname of Tommy the Waterman, the Pickwick Bicycle Club. And he was very proud to be Tommy. And of course, I've got my great-grandson called Tommy too. So that's going in there. So that's a little bit of journal. Just started doing it in the book. This is the last page. You've got a book for journaling, putting photos in to keep this little flippy flappy down. Now, as I say, I've found this way of making hidden paper clips, which I'm going to do so I can put that on there. I'll read you that bit in a minute. And then it's got a mirror page over here with a book to keep that flat too. Made that. lavender follows on. Let me tell you about this then. Well, in 1968, in May, my mum's neighbour, Eileen, her name was, she said, the house down the road is up for sale. Shall we go and look at it? And it sure enough was. They went and looked at it and they bought it. And there was a write-up in the paper about it in 1971. Filthy and dilapidated walls, peeling woodwork, chipped windows broken, all lead taken. That 4.5 years ago was the condition of the Hermitage, the only thatched cottage left in Southgate, and one of the very few left in the whole of London. It's over 300 years old. She says, in April 67, Mrs. Eileen Merritt, 67, then living at Selborne Road, Southgate, heard that the old thatched cottage was for sale. She and her neighbour, Mrs. Eva Hutton, had both often talked of buying an old house, when I can assure you my mum never did talk about buying an old house. Mum and Dad bought the house that Mum was living in then, and so was I. We moved from Tottenham, a 2-little-bedroom flat, to this 5-bedroomed house in Southgate. And the reason my dad could afford it was because it hadn't been lived in for years. It was practically derelict, and he did it up. And it took years, and it was beautiful. Why would my mum, 7 years later, want to move from it? She wouldn't. But anyway, I think she went down with Eileen, and they looked at the house, and it was a case of love at first sight. So they took their husbands down, and the next morning all went to see the house, and the husband said yes, it was a deal. And so the house was split. I'll show you how it was split into two. Well, it was split. Here's the house. That was Eileen and Jim Merritt's, that third, and Mum and Dad had this. And it turned out, yes, to be a third and 2/3. And they had a staircase going up there, and we had 2 staircases. There was a back staircase and a front staircase. So that was the house then. Builders had taken the garden and built a block of flats, whereas it was 3 stories high, so not too bad. They were just about to knock the house down, basically. This was Eileen's, and this was Mum and Dad's. They were just about to knock it down. 400 years old, only thatched house at the front there in London. And it was saved. And what happens if I do that? It was saved. And it was now a listed building. This was the hall. So that's one staircase. That went down to our kitchen. And this door here became Eileen's door through to her bit. Here's the kitchen. When you think my mum, married in 44, had that, had one room basically, which they had as a sitting room, folded the bed up at night, and a tiny little room with no sink. Only the sink was put in by the council when I was born in 49. Dad made her a sink that she put on the landing with a hose pipe going into a bucket, which was dreadful. That was 1944. They had that. And then in 1949, they got the sink, because I was born. The government had to put in sanitary ware. And now at 59, I moved to Southgate into the 5-bedroom house, which was amazing. I was 10 and I loved the house. And here we're talking about 67. not long after, really. And this was to become Mum's kitchen. Look at the state of it, though. Beautiful. This was the lounge. You had the downstairs lounge and you went up and had an upstairs lounge. And that's where I had my wedding. We sat down, we put all tables around and we sat down 60. Amazing. This was my bathroom. We kept the bath and this was really strong water came out of here. I loved it. Of course, it's all modern now, isn't it? So that was the house. Goes there. And this was it as they did it up. It changed a lot. They modernised it even more. They made that other hall into their dining room. And I've got the dining room table, actually. This became a sitting room. And Mum put her grand piano up there when she bought it. But it was lovely. And this was Mum's kitchen. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing that. The little film, I made sure that I just took a little photo of the stages of making the album. I mean, it really doesn't take long. So that's, well, what else can I waffle about? Well, I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about anxiety. Do you remember we talked about it over the last couple of episodes? Let me just put this back. About stress and worry and about how you can do things for stress and worry. You know, I was worried about all Dad's books around there. So what did I do? I went and got them and found somebody who took them off my hands. And that's the worry gone. I felt a bit stressful through it, but that stress pushed me to sort it out and to do something. Anxiety is a different thing, we've said. Anxiety is usually about worrying about what might if tomorrow. And it's true. You can't just say, well, it won't happen. People say that just to make you feel better, don't they, if you suffer from anxiety? Oh, don't think about it. It, probably won't happen. That doesn't help at all, because it probably might happen if you suffer from anxiety. So this week, I just want to tell you a few little tips that you can do if the anxiety overtakes you. I think the first one is to put the more important things first. So, yeah, I'm feeling anxious. Okay, again, what can I do? Well, let me do what needs to be done. If there's 12 things that needs to be done and I can only manage one, what's the most important out of those? Just get that done. So that, again, alleviates anxiety. Do the most important things first. Get enough sleep. I've been having trouble sleeping lately, one reason or another. So, yeah, how do I get to sleep? What helps me? Well, listening to the same book over and over again on YouTube helps me. I'm listening to Towards Zero, Agatha Christie. And yeah, I've listened to it about half a dozen times, but I doze off. It relaxes me. And I find I sleep much better doing that. A lot of people do, I think. What else can help you sleep? Well, burning a candle or aromatherapy oils in, a burner, and also, well, you know what will help you sleep. I think that's the thing. We all know what will help us sleep. It's just doing it. Maybe a nice hot bath or shower, getting to bed on time and not going to bed too late. I find if I go to bed too late, I tend to wake up a bit. Do you? So yeah, get into bed at a reasonable time. And I always think if I'm not sleeping, I'm resting. So that's the next thing. Keeping a sense of humour. Well, I felt a bit like that this week. What did I do? Pop round to see my friend. Well, we landed up laughing so much, mostly about the things she'd made, that hadn't gone quite right, or the things I'd made that hadn't gone quite right. And yeah, we had a good old laugh. And I woke up Sunday morning and thought, oh, that did me the power of good. So keep your sense of humour. That's a good one. And you know what helps you keep your sense of humour. Do it. Maybe just going out for a walk. Get regular exercise. That's another thing, isn't it? Often it's so tempting when we feel anxious not to venture out. But going out for a walk, it's absolute magical therapy, especially when you start looking at nature. I know a lot of people have said through looking at my little films, they've started to look around them and look at the nature that's around them. And that certainly helps. It's calming. And it's good to take your mind off your own thoughts to look at what's going on around you. It grounds you. Do you remember we did that exercise? What can ground me? What makes me feel in the here and now? And looking at nature in the here and now is very, very, very good for us. Yes, and enjoy it. Don't just look at it. Don't just look and say, oh, look, there's, whatever. Enjoy it. Relax into it. Maybe if you don't know the names of things, you might be able to look up what it is. That always helps, doesn't it? So yes, getting out and about in nature and enjoying it. Being reasonable. I know when I'm feeling anxious, reason can go out the window. But I think being reasonable always helps with anxiety. And maybe chatting the anxiety over with a friend or family member, they can help you to be reasonable. Not by saying it won't happen, don't worry about it, but just by maybe saying how they feel or, just looking at things from a different point of view. And schedule time to relax each day. I'm lucky. I have a lot of relaxation time. I don't work now. I'm retired. But if you're a worker, if you work long hours, how are you going to find this time to relax? Schedule it in. Yeah, think about it. Where's my little time for relaxation? Now, all of those things help with anxiety. And next week, I want to show you a little formula that you can start implementing as you feel the anxiety starting. So we'll do that together. So that's another episode done. So I'm very happy to have had a chat with you. And I'll see you. I'm not going to see you next week because I'm seeing friends next week. I'll see you the week after. And I look forward to that. So take care. Happy crafting if you're a crafter. If not, enjoy your walks, getting out into nature and doing what you like doing. So bye-bye. Oh, I forgot to say that this week I also knitted Tommy a little jumper. And I gave it to him, so I haven't got it here to show you. So I took just a quick film just to show you and hit a photo of him in it. So that's coming up next, and then it's going to be the film. Cheerio. So here's the little woolly I knitted for Tommy. It's got a beautiful neck. I love these necks. I don't know what they're called, but you just sew that end in there. Wrap it. You just knit a square and then sew it in there. But it'll fit snugly round his neck. And age 1 to 2, I'll put the pattern up on screen to show you what it is. And it's Bo Peep, shade 888. I'm pleased with it.
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. There's a new day to watch. wash away the pain. There's a new day to take away your sorrow, and the old ways get washed out by the rain. Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this: if you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit, there's a new day to leave behind your troubles. There's a new day, and it will set you free. There's a new day to get you through your struggles. I will always think of you and me. Darling,